We're not playing with you, said the gingerhead fairy. Yeah, look at your wings. They're all yellow. Ours are beautiful and white. Yes, and you're plump, said another fairy. None of the fairies wanted to play with Willbert, because he's different. He's not a fairy like them. He has yellow wings. He can't fly. He can just run around. They can all fly and have fun and play games like fairies do. Poor Willbert the Hillbert, not a fairy or a gnome, but somewhere in between. He can't join in on their games. Sad. And alone, he goes and walks over to the giant mushroom. Well, it's actually ordinary sized mushroom, but everyone's really small here. He says to himself, nobody wants to play with me. Nobody likes me. I'm just going to be on my own, sat on this mushroom forever. Willbert, is that you? Oh. A fairy wizard with a great long grey beard appears next to Willbert. I'm very sorry, the fairy wizard said. We wasn't quite sure if it was going to happen. What was going to happen? Said Willbert. That you would stay with yellow wings. What do you mean? Said Willbert. Well, some fairies have yellow wings for only a moment, and then they go white. Your wings have stayed the same. So it means you're not one of us, young Willbert, but you are a Hillbert. I knew I was a Hillbert. I read it on the wall. People were calling me Willbert the Hillbert, not a fairy or a gnome, but somewhere in between. Yes, they're all right. There's nothing we can do. But since you are a Hillbert, you need to go on a journey. I'll give you a map, and you'll find where you need to go. Oh, said Willbert the Hillbert, not a fairy or a gnome, but somewhere in between. So the next day he started packing his things. And there's this really small fairy in his house. The smallest fairy in the village. And she says, well, where are you going, Willbert? Well, I've got to go find this place on this map. And then I'll be... I don't know. I'm supposed to go here, and then I find out what I am. But we all know what you are. You're a Hillbert. Why do you need to go? The really small fairy said. Because then I find out more. I don't know. It's what Hillberts do when they come of age. According to the wise wizard, anyway. Oh. Well, are you packing your things? What have you got? Yes, well, I've got this map that the wizard fairy gave me, and then I've got this watering can, and I've got this old clog. Well, what are you going to do with those? You need to take something different, like food and water. Not an old clog and watering can. Oh, yes, of course. I was just going to go get some food and water. Won't take the watering can or the clog. Oh, well, have a good journey, says the small fairy, and she flies away. So, later that day, bag packed and ready for off. Willbert is on his journey. Looking at the map, he needs to go to the White Forest. So he does. He gets to the White Forest, and a unicorn runs by. Huh! Willbert's startled. What are you? Willbert says. He's never seen a unicorn before. The unicorn says, I'm a unicorn. Of course. You've not seen one before? No, Willbert said. Well, what are you doing here? Oh, you've got the yellow wings. Yes, the yellow wings. I'm not a fairy or a gnome, but somewhere in between. I'm a Hillbert. Yes, I can see, said the unicorn. Well, I can help you on your journey. You are on the journey, aren't you? Yes. How do you know? They all go on the journey. All Hillberts go on the journey. Oh, do they? Yes. Not seen one in a while, though, you know. I'll tell you what. I'll give you a lift to where you need to be. You are going to the statue, aren't you? Yes, the statue. That's next on the map, Willbert says. So jump on my back and I'll race to the statue. But you must do me this one little favour. Yes, I'll do you a favour. Are we friends now? Willbert says. Yes, we're friends, the unicorn said. Okay, what favour do you want me to do? Willbert says. I need you to say, if you see any giants, tell them not to attack us anymore. It's getting quite tiresome running away from giants. And if you could help us out, that would be great. Oh, yes, I'll be sure to say to any giant that I see, don't pester the white forest unicorns. Thank you. Now jump on and I'll take you there. So, Willbert the Hillbert, not a fairy or a gnome, but somewhere in between, jumps on the unicorn's back and the unicorn races to where the statue is and drops him off. Thank you very much, Willbert the Hillbert says. No problem. Goodbye. The unicorn races away. They're so fast, unicorns are. Fastest creature ever. Willbert looks at the statue. Oh, it looks a bit broken. Somebody's snoring, Willbert says. He walks around the corner. There's an old witch, sat on a rocking chair, snoring away. What's going on? Willbert thinks. Hello, Willbert says. Hello, hi, hello, witch. Hillbert claps his hands a couple of times. Doesn't wake the witch. The witch is snoring away. Hillbert can't see what the statue's supposed to say. It's broken. All you can see is the bottom of a foot that looks like a dinosaur. What am I supposed to do? The map ends here, Hillbert says. This witch must know the answer. So he pulls out the water from his bag, squirts her in the face. Ooh. The witch awakes, grabs hold of Hillbert's chin and pulls him in. And she plants a huge kiss on his lips. Hillbert pulls away. Ugh! What are you doing? Oh, I'm so sorry, said the witch. I thought you were someone else. Hillbert, still a little bit shocked about being kissed by a horrible old witch, doesn't know what to say. Oh, you're one of them, are you? One of what? Oh, yes, a Hillbert. Not a fairy or a gnome, but somewhere in between. Yes, you're very rare, you know. There's not been a Hillbert round these parts for years, said the witch. Oh, well, I'm on a journey. Yes, you are on a journey. The journey that all the Hillberts make to this statue. Yes. What is the statue of? It seems to be broken. Yes, it is broken. A giant broke it. For good reason. So I would go home and pretend you've been here. I can't go home and pretend I've not been here. They don't like me at home. I need to follow the path of destiny. The Hillbert destiny. The Hillbert destiny is not a good one. I would suggest you go. No, I won't go. I'm a Hillbert. I want to go to where the Hillberts go. Well, I've warned you. That way is where you would have been pointed to. So follow your dream, little Hillbert. Not a fairy or a gnome, but somewhere in between. But don't expect it to be a happy one, the witch says. Well, I'm brave. I don't care. I'm going that way then. If that's where the Hillberts go, I'm going. So he follows the path over the hills, around the mountain, and then he gets trapped, strung upside down in a net. Oh, there he is. Poor little Willbert, stuck, hanging up a tree. Really high he is. What am I going to do? I'm stuck up a tree, says Willbert. And then The lights go out. It gets really dark. Oh. Willbert, scared in the net. Under the shadows now of a giant. A giant looks in the net.
What have we got here? I've not seen one of these for a very long time,
said the giant. Willbert doesn't know what to do. He's trapped. The net is all around him and he's stuck. He can't get out. He can't move.
I'm going to enjoy this,
said the giant. Enjoy what?
I'm going to enjoy eating you,
said the giant. So the giant pulls out his knife and cuts Willbert free and puts him in his pocket, close to him. And he goes home. In the giant's house later that day, the giant has Hillbert on his work surface, and he's chopping vegetables, throwing them in a pot. The giant is so happy.
I'm finally going to taste the Hillbert,
the giant says. No, don't eat me, Willbert says.
Oh, I've wanted to eat a Hillbert for years. Finally, I can have one again.
Again?
Oh, yes. I've eaten one before, a long time ago. It was delicious,
said the giant. So the giant pulls out his big carving knife and puts his big finger on top of Hillbert to stop him from moving. He lifts the knife really high, a glint of anger in the giant's face as he swipes down. Whack! Hillbert, so afraid. And then the giant picks him up, puts him in the pot. Hillbert is still on the work surface. You see, the giant only wanted the wings. The wings are delicious. The body, not so much. Phew. He throws the body into a cage where he used to keep a parrot, a giant parrot. But one morning he was hungry and ate it, so the cage is empty. Hillbert, afraid, shaking in the cage. My wings! I don't have any wings! The giant is eating his soup. Oh, this is delicious. Oh, God, I love Hillbert wings, said the giant. The fear in little Willbert the Hillbert, not a fairy or a gnome, has taken over him. He shakes, the cage is shaking. The giant is asleep now. He's had his fill, it was delicious. The wings of a Hillbert just made his soup so delicious that he ate the lot and then fell asleep. Poor little Willbert the Hillbert, not a fairy or a gnome but somewhere in between, is expanding. He's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Until the cage is totally broken and he fills the room and he looks down at the giant sleeping on his chair. The giant awakes.
Oh no, I forgot this happened to Hillberts.
Forgot what happens to Hillberts? Willbert the Hillbert said. Not a fairy or a gnome, but now a dragon.
I forgot you turned into dragons. I'm sorry I ate your wings, but I had to.
You had to? Hillbert says. No, you didn't. And he takes a deep breath and then spits fire in the giant's face. Ah! The giant's eyebrows and hairs get burnt away.
Please, don't do any more.
His face blackened from the fire.
I had to do it. I promise I had to,
the giant said. You see, what the giant is trying to tell poor little Willbert the Hillbert that's now a dragon is that when the wings get pulled off by a giant and eaten, it creates a spell that unlocks the Hillbert's powers.
But please don't burn me alive.
I will spare you, since you supposedly made me a dragon, and I quite like being a dragon, says Willbert the Hillbert, suddenly feeling powerful. But there is one thing I want you to do, Mr. Giant.
Yes, anything. Please just don't burn me.
I want you to stay away from unicorns, and I want you to tell all giants, if they touch another unicorn, I will be back here, and I will burn you, and any giant that I see.
Sure, I will never touch a unicorn, and I will spread the word.
So, Willbert leaves the giant behind and soars through the sky as a great dragon. And he reaches the fairy town. All the fairies are really small, Willbert the Hillbert, now a dragon, says. Where are all my friends that didn't want to play with me? There they are. Maybe I'll burn them all, Willbert the Hillbert thought. So, Willbert the Hillbert, now a dragon, breathes in. Willbert, no! Shouted the wizard fairy. Willbert the Hillbert, now a dragon, looks at the wizard fairy. He's tiny. Don't burn them. They will be your friends. All you need to do now is go back to your old form as a Hillbert. You have the power to change from a Hillbert to a dragon now. Oh, do I? Oh, well, I'll try that then. And Hillbert switches back to his normal self. He's small again, except he does have a little tail. Oh, I can fly! I can fly! Yes, Hillbert, you can fly, just like a fairy can. You have become a great asset to our village. You can save us from all the fairy hunters and giants and any predator that comes here. Oh, you mean I'm a special one now? You've always been special, Hillbert. Now go to your friends. They want to see Willbert the Hillbert, not a fairy or a gnome, but somewhere in between, and a dragon. Willbert the Hillbert flies down to all the other little fairies, and they welcome him with open arms to join in with their games. It's great playing with a dragon, said all the little fairies, and they have a great time. And Willbert the Hillbert, not a fairy or a gnome, but somewhere in between and also a dragon, is the happiest he's ever been. The end.